Today, I'm talking to Tempe Reichardt, CEO of Gabriel-Glas North America, whose product we carry in our marketplace at Corvin.com. Welcome, Tempe. How
Thank
are
you.
things in beautiful Napa?
Well, it is an absolutely glorious day here. I think it's going to be in the 70s.
Amazing.
I'm not seeing a cloud in the sky. And I do intend to go for a swim when I close the office at the end of the day.
Good for
So
you. That's
it's
the best way to
beautiful.
end a work day, isn't it?
Yeah,
Feel like
it
you
really
wash off all the work.
right. Right. So, and you're in Boston, right?
uh, on Cape Cod, in
Okay, so
Falmouth.
is it snowy and miserable there?
It's 35 degrees today, so people are wearing shorts.
Yeah,
Kind of where
drinking
we're
Mai
at.
Tais, right?
Exactly.
Good.
Um, so tell me how your wine career began.
Well, interestingly, my eldest brother, who's 9 years older than I am, started a fine wine business in Michigan before anyone had really in Michigan knew what fine wine
Right.
was. We were in on the eastern, um, sorry, the western part of Michigan, which is bordering on Lake Michigan and very provincial in many ways. And
Mhm.
people didn't know good wine there. Different story in Detroit, but in Grand Haven, Michigan, very provincial. So my brother took a leap of faith and he had this amazing wine store. And I'm 9 years younger than he is. And so I was kind of forced into working for him as a relatively young person.
Yeah.
I started working for him when I was about 16, and I was working summer, vacation, the holiday rush periods as I was going through
Mm.
high school and college. And I just absolutely fell in love with wine.
Mhm.
And I must say, I'm very spoiled because I had the family discount, which meant I was buying really top wine at, basically wholesale prices.
Wow.
And so I can't drink cheap wine.
It also sounds like you might have been drinking wine before it was
Well,
legal too.
well, yes, and I won't name my brother's
Yeah,
name.
we wanna
Don't
implicate
want the
anybody.
authorities coming
Yeah.
after him. But that is absolutely true. But back in those days, the drinking age in Michigan was 18.
Right, right.
So, and he had me in the back room pulling corks, writing shelf
Oh my
talker
gosh.
tasting notes on these various wines. And so I really did develop a palate at an early age.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
a lot
There's
of fun.
no
And
better job to be able to cut your teeth at a young age, right?
well, absolutely. And then from there, I went off and had a separate career as a journalist, but the wine thing kept
Yeah.
tugging at me. So I ultimately left Washington, D.C., and I had moved to D.C. as a journalist and came to California and got into the wine industry right away in California. So,
It's a good
um,
move.
yeah, it's been a great career.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what drew you to Gabriel Glass, and made you want to establish the business in North America?
Yeah. So, to give you a little background, Rene Gabriel, who is the founder of Gabriel-Glas, the creator of Gabriel-Glas, is one of the top wine writers in Europe. He's
Mhm.
Swiss German. He writes in the German language, but he's very well known in Europe. Um, One of my businesses prior to launching Gabriel-Glas North America was exporting premium California wine to
Mm.
Europe. So I lived in Europe for 10 years. I was working with really, really great wine producers.
Mhm.
I got the attention of the press.
Mm.
So Renee was writing about the wines I was shipping into
Mm.
Europe, and he was also a customer of mine at the same
Okay.
time. So we developed this wonderful collegial relationship. And I ultimately sold that business in Europe and I moved back to California. And the story is really very funny. My phone rang, and I was recently returned to California, and it was Rene Gabriel. And he said, Tempe, I'm coming to California. I'm coming with 3 other Swiss guys. We're renting Harley Davidsons and driving around California. And we want to come to your house for a barbecue. Well, of course, he knew it'd be one-stop shopping for
Yeah,
great
right.
California wine, right? And I said, well, Renee, you're in luck. Now I live in Napa, and I actually have a barbecue rather than being in a small apartment in San Francisco.
He knew what he was doing.
Yes. So he showed up, and I knew absolutely nothing about his glass. It had just been launched in Europe, and so the world wasn't aware of his glass. And he said, Tempe, you are absolutely the perfect person to introduce my glass into North America. And I knew nothing about the glass world, right? I mean, I had beautiful wine glasses. I believe in great wine glasses, but I didn't know anything about the business of selling glass. So I gave it some good hard thought. And of course, he didn't have any samples with him at that moment. I said, Renee, please send me some samples. And from the moment I started drinking out of that glass, I was hook, line, and sinker convinced. I had never had such a great wine drinking experience. And simultaneously to my own awakening to Gabriel-Glas, I went running around Napa, saw some of my winemaker friends, and they all said, wow, this is really a sensational glass. And they were effectively placing orders with me. Like, I'll take 12, I'll take 24 as soon as you have them. And at that point, I did not have pricing. I didn't have anything, and other than some samples, and I'm getting orders for the product.
Wow.
So with that, I thought, okay, I'll take a leap of faith and I will launch this brand into North America. And in doing so, I created my company is the exclusive importer of Gabriel-Glas in North America.
Right.
So that, of course, allows us to establish great collaborations with companies such as Corvin.
Absolutely. When was this? When did you establish Gabriel-Glas?
I started importing the brand in 2013, but it was under another company that I owned.
Okay.
And then in 2015, I separated off Gabriel-Glas as its own company.
Okay.
So effectively, the brand was first introduced in 2013, but then under the Gabriel-Glas North America LLC umbrella in 2015.
Gotcha. 2013 was a big year in the wine industry. Corvin first released in 2013. I feel like there's like a couple other companies. I don't know what was, there was something going on. There was vibrations in the industry that year, it sounds like.
Yes, and I was so excited about Corvin upon its release, and I thought, wow, this is really, really cool. And at that point, I saw the potential for a collaboration between our companies.
Yeah.
Because of there's a lot of sort of synergies there. So,
oh, absolutely. Yep. Can you explain the unique features of the StandArt and the Gold Edition glass?
Sure. I have both of them.
Oh, fabulous.
Here.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this will be good when we do video.
Yes. And, okay. First of all, you'll see I've poured red and white wine in Gabriel-Glas. It is a universal wine glass.
Right.
So it is appropriate for any style of wine. So when you come to a dinner party at my house, I serve you champagne in this glass, and then white wine, red wine, dessert wine, what have you. It is also, it's dishwasher safe, technically.
Amazing.
Lead-free crystal, crystal, not glass. Now, when I say it's dishwasher safe, not all dishwashers and not all dishwasher loaders are created equal. So exercise caution, but technically they can handle, extremely high heat. The wineries we work with don't use soap. They wash the glass at near boiling temperatures. So, but the glass, most importantly, besides its beauty, is you can see that it has a broader base. It has kind of a conical shape to it. So the broader base allows for the wine to have more surface to air contact.
Right.
Flavors and aromas emerge in the glass. Then this conical shape drives the aromas. So it allows, the shape of the glass allows for the full expression of the wine that's served in the glass.
Right.
The trade and wine aficionados all around the country around North America and the world really are very, very excited about Gabriel-Glas because of the way it performs.
Oh, it's beautiful glass.
Thank you. And then we make the glass in two qualities, and it's very hard to see this, but in my right hand, this is what we call the Gold Edition glass, and it is blown. So it's in the old-fashioned manner by artisan glass blowers. This glass is machine molded. This is what we call the StandArt glass. This is your workhorse glass for your Monday night wines. This glass is essential for your top wines. And I feel cheated if I'm serving champagne in any other glass. I absolutely love this glass for champagne. So it's the Gold Edition is extremely light. It's an ethereal wine drinking experience. And the StandArt is a little bit weightier and more practical for day-to-day.
Every day.
Yes.
Awesome. I feel like that's controversial about having champagne in a universal glass. What would be your argument about having champagne in a regular glass as opposed to a flute?
Well, if you want the bling of champagne, the showy,
the bubble, it stimulates the bubbles, right? If it's vertical, right?
The flute.
Right.
If you really want to enjoy the wine that you're drinking and be able to taste the full expression of the wine, Gabriel-Glas is the one.
If you're a real wine drinker. No.
And incidentally, there's an interesting trend away from the flute.
Yeah,
if you're talking to wine industry professionals, many will say, the flute has seen its day.
It doesn't allow for the aromas to get to your nose, right? It's more about the visual.
Yes, it's more about the visual.
Yeah.
It stifles the aromas to a huge extent.
Right.
Because this promotes the aromas.
Okay. That's a good tip.
Yeah.
So what does it mean when a glass is seamless?
Okay. That's a really good question. I failed to mention that. Most wine glasses have a seam here at the base of the bowl, and then also where the stem affixes to the foot. And that creates the stress points in a wine glass. Gabriel-Glas is seamless, so there are no stress points. The stem is actually fused, so it is actually a more durable glass. I'm sure we've all had the experience when polishing a glass where it'll often snap off.
Right.
Where the bowl affixes to the stem.
Right.
Because this glass is seamless,
it won't do that.
That won't happen.
Wow.
So it makes it more durable, basically.
Oh, wow. Excellent. So you also sell to restaurants. What do you think the greatest advantages are to using the Gabriel-Glas in a restaurant environment?
Well, there are many, and we work with some top restaurants around the country. First of all, I mentioned the durability of the glass. You may pay a little bit more up front for this glass, but it won't break as frequently. So ultimately, a restaurant gets more value for money.
Okay.
But from a training perspective, imagine training your staff on, this is what we serve champagne in. This is what we serve Riesling in. This is what we serve Chardonnay in. This is what we serve Cabernet in. And this is what we serve our dessert wines in.
Right.
It becomes a big jumble for
Right.
new staff. This creates total simplicity for a restaurant team. There's no
Right.
second guessing. Do I have the right glass that I'm putting before my guests?
Right.
So it streamlines operations. It's more durable, but equally, and if not more importantly, the guests will enjoy their wine more in this glass. It's a very aesthetic experience. So obviously it's all about customer service, and you're giving your diners the absolute best experience as they're consuming their wine. Hopefully you'll sell more wine.
Absolutely. Yeah. If anybody isn't convinced that they should be using a Gabriel-Glas, then they have not been paying attention, because you present it so well and it's such a beautiful product. What's on your travel agenda post-pandemic? What are you daydreaming about?
Well,
I mean, you already live in a bit of a beautiful, well, you live in a beautiful place.
Yes. Unfortunately, we had to cancel a trip last year. We were going to be taking a trip to the factory, which is in Europe, and we were going to be flying into Austria, visiting the beautiful Wachau region, which is one of the top wine producing regions in Austria, and then going to the factory and just have a team meeting with Austrian headquarters and visit those folks. That was so. I'm fantasizing about getting to Austria.
Yeah.
And that hopefully will happen later this year.
Yes, fingers crossed. I have kind of an ad hoc question. It's so interesting. So you used to export California wine to Europe. How has the European perception of American wine evolved?
Well, back when
If it has.
Oh yes, very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. Back when I was really introducing California wine into Europe, the old guard was very resistant. My generation was lapping it up. They were so intrigued. They had been drinking Bordeaux and Burgundy and great German and Italian wines through their youth and their parents and their parents' parents and all that sort of thing. So at the time that I really started introducing California wine into Europe, it was a generational thing where, the top wine writers absolutely knew that California was doing something exciting.
Right.
The old guard importers were like, well, we don't need that.
So was that pretty risky for you to do that at the time?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, it sounds very ahead of the curve. Okay.
It was, and it was very challenging, but I'm a very tenacious person. And also the quality.
You believe in the product too, right?
Well, right. And the quality of the wine spoke for themselves. And so it was definitely a process of winning hearts and minds.
Yeah.
And in that regard, it's been the same with Gabriel-Glas. When I first introduced this glass into the United States, no one understood really the universal glass concept.
Right.
We were schooled in the need to have varietal specific, or at least a red wine glass and a white wine glass.
Right.
That's what we had been told. And it just simply isn't necessary. It's great marketing, but it's just not necessary. So it was about winning hearts and minds when I introduced this glass into North America. But that happened very quickly, because the moment people put this glass in their hands, generally speaking, they fall in love with it.
Yeah.
It's a very aesthetic way to drink wine.
Yeah, I know that the Corvin team, we're big fans. Peter Johnson and Greg Lambrecht are big fans of the glass, as am I. So our company mission at Corvin is to change the way the world experiences wine. What is your favorite wine experience, or a favorite wine experience, since I know you've had many?
Oh my God. Well, I would say my absolute favorite wine experience is um, drinking great wine with wonderful friends.
Hmm.
And I so miss that in this
Mm.
pandemic. And my husband and I are just dying to have a party.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
I, of course, have an unlimited supply of these glasses. So we can have quite a party. And I'm ready to host
Yeah.
a party.
There's
And
so much pent up like energy, right?
yes, yes. So it's, with friends and family sitting around the table, drinking beautiful wine.
Mhm.
That's my favorite wine
That's just
experience. Yeah.
that's a great answer. It's a great
I can
answer.
repeat it. I can repeat it time and time again, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know my husband and I are always hosting people, and we catch fish out on the Cape, so we have tuna parties here. It's kind of unique to where we are, and we miss it dearly, but fingers crossed soon.
Yeah.
Um, Anything you'd like to plug, or any developments at Gabriel-Glas that you'd like to share?
Yeah. In fact, back here, we have our absolutely brand new stemless glass.
Oh,
This,
wow.
the first glasses arrived in the country yesterday, and that's February 25th. So,
Amazing. Great
yeah,
timing.
yeah, and you can see the shape is very, it's the same shape as the Gabriel glass. I happen to be serving
I
bourbon.
was going to say you have ice in there, Tempe.
Yeah, it's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with my bourbon this morning, right? But I love this glass. I prefer actually to serve cocktails in it rather than wine.
Yeah.
Reason being, for me personally,
Hmm.
and it's a personal thing, everybody
Hmm.
has their own choices. Um, if I'm holding a wine glass like this, I'm going to heat up the wine,
Right.
right? So that's why technically a stem
Yeah.
allows the wine to be in its cellar temperature or
Yeah.
room temperature, right? If
Yeah.
we're holding a wine glass like this, it's going to heat up the wine.
I
But
think stemless is great for beer too.
beer, garden parties,
Hmm.
your Monday night wine
Hmm.
again,
Right.
um, water. My husband's been serving Aperol spritzers to me in this
That
glass.
sounds great.
Can't complain about that. So it's a really great, it's an all-purpose glass,
Yeah.
and it's at a really sweet price point. It's our StandArt glass is 32 a stem.
Hmm.
This is $12 a stem.
Oh, wow. That's a
So
great deal
not a stem, a glass.
per glass. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Will we be adding that to the marketplace?
absolutely.
Excellent.
We have a limited supply that just came in.
Okay.
We're first, launching it in our own platform,
Yep.
but yes,
Excellent.
whenever we can, get it set up, we will be selling it through the marketplace.
Awesome. That's excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Tempe. Everyone should check out the Gabriel-Glas glassware on the Corvin marketplace. And otherwise, so good to see you, and best of luck with in 2021.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you so much for your enthusiasm for Gabriel-Glas. It's a treat doing business with the Corvette Marketplace.
Likewise. Take
Take
care.
care.